So what we're going to have on the store is a 768 Texas pocket spring, 8-inch, have 13.5 gauge for the side support on both sides, and in the center section will be 14 3/4 gauge across the entire center. Now you can see this has a piece of scrim on it. Now what this scrim does, it helps it perform more like a traditional coil and helps it hold its shape better. With the pocketed coils, they can tend to accordion if they don't have something there to keep them in place. They can stretch longer, measure shorter than what the end preferred length and width would be. So what we do, this will be the bottom. If you get one that has scrim on both sides, you can leave it on or you can take it off. Totally up to your preference. I like to have it off, and I'll show you what we do with that here in a minute going through the process of the build. We'll start with the bottom side. So why the scrim on the bottom? The scrim on the bottom is what you're going to want there as a barrier. Sometimes you're going to have to put a spring on some bed slats, and if they're spaced too far apart, you may want to get something to put across the whole surface. But if they're fairly close together, you can get by with using the scrim and a piece of foam on top of that. And that the foam will be what helps keep it to the shape you want it to be. So what we like to do is peel back this scrim, exposing the outermost layer of the quad coils. I like to do that. That lets us make sure we have a secure bond to the coils themselves. As you can see, this is laminated on nice and secure, but we want to go foam straight to these pocketed coils to get a final bond. And if your coil has the scrim on it, you want to take it off, you'll just cut it off, cut it back. Let's see if I can come here, cut it back all the way around. Making sure to get that clean. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. We're just exposing the outermost set of quad coils. Okay, since this is for demonstration purposes and we're not making a final mattress, I'll be using the Bond Seal 2080, the trowel tack, to get this going right. So you can see that's about 79, and this is the foam. About 38, so that's pretty good. Let's measure the coil by itself. So the coil measures just over 41, about 41.5 on the width. And on the length it comes in at just about 81.5. So we want to bring it in closer to the 38 by 79.5, 37.5, 79.5 range. When you're spraying the trowel tack, the 2080, you'll see it comes out kind of like a spider web glue. You see how that kind of comes out. You want to just put down a layer, just like this, on the exterior. Do a little coating in here in the middle, not too much. Do the same on this layer of foam. Just enough to keep it in place. And we'll do the other side. You want to stretch it for the entire surface and then push it into place. Giving it that push pressure down. Come over here and do the same thing. So there we have the trowel tack put on. Like I said, that would normally be the ultimate glue or the layer lock on the bottom, because that's going to be the final piece no matter what we do to the top sleeping surface. Okay, now flip this over. See, we got a nice uniform look. Okay. For the next part, if you're going to want a zoned center zone feel, you'd want to put your precision support layer, glue it on just the same as we did the other. Little spray down, stretch it over, push it down with, put it down with pressure. Primarily, we're wanting to get this side down nice and solid. Spin it around. And you could do this with the layer lock or the trowel tack, either one. I would say do it with the layer lock, but if you don't know that you want a zoned center or not, it's fine to start out with the trowel tack. So same as the other side, we want to push that in. This is pre-measured to get the size we want on the width. So you see how that's nice and straight where the rest of it's kind of moving over. So this keeps it in place on both sides of the spring. So now we have a zoned center. What that does, that's just going to draw support from the entire area underneath this. This is going to help it draw support from every spring instead of just the centralized area where the pressure is coming from. Next up, we have a piece of the 3/4 densified fiber pad, which is cut to the exact size we want the mattress to finish. You can see the center where we already did the zoning. It's where it's supposed to be. We have some of this side that needs to be pushed in a little. Sometimes you'll feel one side to have more of one side will have a flatter, more smooth surface than the other. The textured side you would want up, and the smooth side you would want down, just to have more surface area to get on the spring. And again, I would use the layer lock on this step, the layer lock glue. This will be a final step, but we're going to use the trowel tack just as an example to see what we're doing, and I can take it apart afterwards. The same idea around the exterior. Got a little on there. Always make sure to shake your can as you're applying the glue. For even distribution. All right. Now we're going to do the same on this side we did with the 1-inch foam. We're going to fit this fiber fit the spring to the fiber, because the fiber is what determines the final dimensions. Now you can see it's got the smooth side all the way down. We have some of the foam that's coming up a little bit. So not only do you have the scrim on the bottom to protect this coil, but you have the foam as well to give a nice base. Look at that, it's all the way. We have a nice straight mattress up and down. All right. So let's flip this over real quick. You can use a scrim on this side if you want more support. If you want the top side to have more support, you can definitely use a scrim. Leave it on there. You can leave it as is. If you don't want the precision support, you don't want the zoning, don't have to put that either. But to get the final dimensions of your inner spring just right, your mattress just right, I'd suggest using the 1-inch foam. Trim away the scrim like we did and give that solid support from foam to spring. Like I said, you would use the layer lock on that process because it's not going anywhere. On the top side, we use the fiber pad because you can tell it'll give a good break-in process. Now for this, the precision support pad won't break in as much as this area where it's just the fiber pad. That's designed to keep its support over time. The fiber pad will break into your weight, your body sleep patterns, your sleeping patterns, your weight, overall usage. It'll break into your shape. This offers a customized break-in process for each person. That's why I do not recommend rotating a mattress unless you're sleeping on it by yourself. If it's a solo sleeper, it won't affect your feel. You're sleeping on the same spot either way. So as this breaks in, this will allow the layers on top of it to break in just a little bit. It's not going to go so far down to where it's going to lose all support, but over time it will break in just enough to customize the sleep experience of each user. This fiber pad allows the pocketed coils to act in a way they were designed to perform. Traditional mattress, you have motion transfer because all these springs are tied together with a helical wire. And if you push here, it's going to draw support from all the way down, and the metal will transfer the vibrations and feel. As you can see, this was designed to have support where the weight is. If you put a piece of foam on here, straight foam on here, it will wear out faster than if you use the fiber pad. The fiber pad will keep the integrity of every piece that's placed above it by not letting it sink too far down into the spring. Here we are with a finished build up to the stage where we start putting on the comfort layers. So let's take this apart and I can show you how easy this is to do with. It's got a good bond. I mean, it's not going anywhere. But at the same time, it's adaptable. You can adjust it. You can go through and change the layers over time using this glue. Even the fiber, you can see it doesn't grip too much fiber. And you saw how much glue I used. It wasn't a ton of glue. I'd say we didn't even use half a can at that point. It was probably a quarter of a can maybe. There we go. Right back to where we started. So you can have a DIY mattress that you can use glue and still be adjustable, adaptable, customizable. If you're not laminating your layers together with glue, your comfort layers, those layers won't last as long and they won't perform to the ability that they're capable of if they're not glued together. We want it acting as one complete unit.